there you have it. Some gun porn. That is the Hawken Thompson Center 45. Came in the other day. Did go out and test fire it. Did not take you with me. Sometimes it's just easier to go out and be focused on one thing and one thing only. But I'm going to go down here, paint my targets, and we'll see what we can do. Now, one of the things, I don't know if you noticed in that awesome gun porn close-up, on the back side of that sight, and that sight might look different to some of you, that is not the factory sight that comes with it. That is an aftermarket sight, which I found online. Was able to acquire it brand new in the package, installed it. So I didn't even test this gun with the adjustable factory sight. And what was neat was I actually got some really good groups with 50 grains of 3F black powder. I want to say 3F because I'm questioning myself now, but I took notes in my phone. Part of the reason I do this. Right here, with unadjusted, was like a 6 or 7 shot group. That's about all I did because I forgot my thermocell again. Big old spider. I think what we're going to do for posterity's sake, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shots in there, and I think we'll aim for here. We'll paint these targets. So yeah, that 45, we're going to go with 45, which is a 440 round ball. I hand cast those up, and then I'm going to go with the 15 thousandths ox yoke patches. I've got both the 36 cal patches that I use from ox yoke, and I've got some 50 cal patches. I think the 50s go from 50 to 59, and the 36s go from 30 something, 36 to 45. So we'll see which ones fit. I may just stick with the ones that I know. There's no point in having extra material going down past that ball. So we'll get this painted up, and we're going to do 50 yards. We're going to do 50 grains of powder, and that rear sight, if you notice on the back, there was some brass right kind of just above halfway down. I took a brass pick I have, and I marked it where I was roughly holding last time. I'm going to use that horizontal line across there as my sighting point from the rear to the front. And if I'm hitting center, then I'm going to file that sight down pretty darn close, probably 2 or 3 thousandths above that mark, maybe even a little more. And then I'll slowly kind of carve and we'll file that down to shape. So without further ado, let's get going and see where we're at. Okay, we're loaded up with 50 grains. 45 cal Thompson Center Hawken. This is that factory sight. Aftermarket. It's okay. It's a little vertical. It's not quite swept and sexy, but here's that back section. So I'll be aiming down at that brass. We're going to take our first shot on cardboard. We're loaded up with shoots in 3F, 50 grains. And what I'm going to do is I put a white spot on cardboard to the left. We're going to aim there first. Okay, first shot, 10 thousandths, I'm sorry, 15 thousandths ox yoke patch. Camera shut off, so we'll see where we're at. So anyway, coming down here, first shot, ox yoke, 15 thousandths. I was aiming here. I was not doing a 6 o'clock hold. I was doing an actual center hold with that, so I'm happy with that so far. we can repeat that, we're good. Now, one thing of note is this Thompson 45. It's the one I was talking about in this other video that you will see before this one, or I'll merge these together, we'll see. The sale price was $385 total, shipped, in excellent shape. It's the one that the guy, this was my backup, and the guy got into a bidding war with me, being a dumbass I was talking about 15-minute rule, not understanding what it was. So anyway, I'm really happy with this one. It shoots like a dream. There's no kick in a 45 at all. And when I say that, I mean, you know, 50 grains of 3F, there's really no kick. So that was a 15 thousandths patch, ox yoke, 440 round ball, hand cast, sprue up. And there's triggers on this one. It's actually really, really nice. This one has a hunter trigger, and I got to check my other one to see if it does, where you can pull the front trigger to make it fire without having to use the set. But the set is perfectly hair, and this one just, it works. So I'm going to load her up again, and I'm going to do a couple more shots at that white spot, and that'll determine if my little lever, that little brass spot on the back of the sight, is where I need it to be, and if it is, I'm going to keep that, and I'll file that actually down pretty close. I'll still leave a little bit of wiggle room so I can go up and down and charge. But yeah, let's do it again. Shot 2. Shot 3. Yeah, you're still recording. I'm all fogged up. Humidity is bad. So shot 4. I've said it before in my videos before. I've got really good eyesight. So from here I can see, we're not even down there yet. There's where we're at. I can see I've got 2 balls up out of the white and 1 high. So now I changed, and this is why powder testing, patch testing, ball testing is all important. You need to spend so much time on load development anytime you change a component in your loading sequence. And during the powder shortage right now, with GoX being out of business, back in business, coming back with an indefinite return to the market, I picked up that Schutzen, which I've shot in the past and had decent luck with it. It's just a dirty powder, in my opinion. It cleans the same, it cleans right up, but it tends to be dirtier, almost oilier. This is why it's so important to test your groups. Now, the other day I showed you that steel, and I actually was getting some slight vertical stringing by some decent groups, but it does correspond very similarly to what I'm seeing now. And I did bring with me some other 3F, and I want to say it's Old Einsford. So first shot, they're still going. So first shot, second shot, still aiming dead center there. Third shot, fourth shot. So fist size just outside of that at 50 yards. Now on the steel, we were actually much tighter. The only thing I changed was Schutzen, and this is the, I want to say it's the Graf Schutzen. I'm going to check as soon as we get back there on that powder horn. So one thing of note is anytime you change something, definitely definitely test your group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep aiming for that spot since it's a nice spot. Yeah, it was the Graf 3F, so that would be the shoots in. So right on the back there, 3F Graf. That's the Graf's 3F. And in our previous testing of chronograph data, we noticed that the 3F Graf has a different velocity. It's actually much lower than the others. So yeah, so we're going to go to the Old Eynsford and see what we get. 50 grains, Old Eynsford. Same aiming spot. Now there's something you can tell. It's 50 grains, same thing. This actually how it produces as Old Eynsford. It's more like Swiss. There's a much more sharp report. It's a faster ignition. You can hear it, you can feel it, you can sense it. So I really hope Old Eynsford hits the market again, because it's right up there with Swiss. I mean, I don't see in hunting performance, I don't see a difference for Swiss versus Old Eynsford, but you know, if you were doing cartridge matches, things like that, long range, I mean, Swiss definitely has some advantages. And I've noticed that Swiss tends to have a drier fouling, Old Eynsford close, and then the shoots and stuff is very wet. Okay, so that one with the Old Eynsford hit high by the second shot, dead in line. So I am going to go lower below my horizontal brass line with the front sight. See, but I'm going to aim in the same exact spot. And again, remember, we're testing the height of that as well as the shooting. So. Might as well take you down for us for a walk, because I can see this touching the white. I'm 99% certain, and if that's the case, I believe I know exactly where I need to aim. Yeah, I'm dead center in the white here. Well, when I say dead center, I mean to where I'm aiming. So we'll see if we can't repeat that. I'm loaded up, ready to go. But yeah, I'll tell you, there's such a quality difference between Old Eynsford versus the Graf's Wano shoots in. So that's 6 rounds down range. Here we go. That was the last one I just did. That was my first one. And it was more like this. Clean bore. And that was the last one. And there was the other one right there. Which, not unsurprising, because Old Eynsford is a faster, hotter. So, you know, based on the chronograph data, shooting 50 grains of Old Eynsford or 50 grains of Swiss is probably like shooting 57 grains of the shoots in Grafs, just because of how slow it was. So for consistency, we're going to go back there, and just as of note, I was not able to clean between groups. The jag I brought, even though it's the right 10-30 second thread, it is not threading in, so I'm not going to force it. Alright, we are loaded. I'm going to put another one and see how we're doing on my aiming point. I think we might be there. That looks to be dead center white. Just so you know, there's no trick photography. I'll run you down there in my slow mosey fashion. So yeah, 1970, Thompson Center introduced the Hawken to its lineup, according to their own website. That's where the data's coming from. After 1970, with the big mountain man craze coming out, Robert Redford made a huge impact on it. Whether or not you like mountain man videos, let's remember, Hollywood is what it is. It's entertainment value. You know, obviously, the more accurate it is for those of us who are historical, great. I did commercial work for diving. Every time I saw bad commercial equipment, bad military equipment, because that's what I used to work on, commercial military gear. You know, every time you see something that's wrong, you're like, son of a bitch, you know, whatever, it's just Hollywood. Here we go. So we're getting there. Now again, I'm doing all of this with a giant sight, so I'm just taking that post and I'm dropping it down towards the bottom, and right now I'm holding just above. So my brass marking across that sight, I think is going to be the top of my post as I kind of bring it down, maybe like a mini, kind of a semi-buckhorn or something like that, just to bring it in, give it a little aesthetic pleasure. So we're going to do another one. That's, what was that, 8 shots? I think that's 8 shots. That was my third, yeah, 4 and 3 is 7. So this will be shot 8, we're loaded up. We're going to do that one. I'll tell you, so now we have a 36 Seneca, 45 Hawken, and a 50 Hawken. And, you know, and then there's 54s. I don't need a 54 because I've got a 54 in my custom build my uncle gave me. And I actually really enjoy shooting the 54. It's just it's a very nice shooting, soft shooting gun. 50 is very nice. You know, as you get into these smaller calibers with a higher grain charge, you actually get more felt recoil from that smaller barrel diameter. It's physics. You know, I'm not going to get into it, and I'm sure somebody will tell me I'm wrong. But it's the same thing as in cowboy action. We always see people with 12 gauge shotguns, and then they get their wife a 20 gauge, and then their wife's getting beat up with factory shot shells. Even trying to reload them, because why? You have a smaller bore and you're pushing, you know, 7/8 ounce down that versus a much bigger area with a bigger surface area pushing 7/8 of the same exact type of 7/8 weight shot. There's less resistance going through on there, so you can let that kinetic and potential energy go down away from you. It's one of those things. So the smaller these bores get, to a point. I mean, obviously 22 is a 22. You can burn those hot. But in these mid-range ones, I'm really liking the 45 from a shooter and being on the legal edge of hunting deer with. I mean, legal I think is 40 cal, so you're well within it. You know, there's the same thing. You can do it with a 45 cal pistol, and you can do it a 45 Colt, and so on. One of these days here, I'm going to get the chrono out. We'll see what this is pushing at 50 grains of Old Eynesford. But Old Eynesford seems to be doing really well, kind of center in those groups. I was getting some left stringing of the Wano shoots in. Height, we're going to discredit the height only because of where my brass line was. I was guessing on that, and that first shot was probably just me aiming a little bit lower. Alright, normally you hear me complaining about mosquitoes, and they're brutal out right now. Like when I first got here, they were going everywhere. But this is a thermocell. I usually have the long cylindrical looking ones that I carry with me hunting. This one, I don't know, got it for my wife on the back porch on the bad nights. Use the same thing, so I brought that out here today, and the mosquitoes are not harassing me. When I first got here, before it was fully fired up, you do need to start them a few minutes prior. The mosquitoes were coming in real danger close on me, and you know, they had to figure out what they were doing. But yeah, anyway, thermocells. These things are awesome. If you've never used them, thankfully I was turned on to them in Florida, and it's the only way to live in the woods, especially with mosquitoes. I just constantly forget them. So here is shot 8, 2 8 shot groups. There you go. This last shot, was aiming just a hair low in my sight intentionally so I could see a little more of this, and actually, you know, right about here, so it went right almost where I wanted to go. So there you have it. I'm going to stop there today. It's actually really, really muggy and humid. I don't know if you see it's a beautiful shot with black powder smoke is drifting through the sun there way out. Yeah, these glasses are actually fogging up when I get behind the sight. Let's see. Look at that. Got drones flying overhead. We always have military base, not a ways away, but they're always flying their drones and do these giant circles. And they always come in randomly. Well, I say randomly, it's like random days, but they always have them out at different times. But we're on one of their big circular paths. They go overhead. Anyway, there you go. Thermocells, I highly recommend you get one of these things. If you've never used one for mosquitoes, absolutely the best. Supposedly a 15-foot range. I always stick them under my chair. You probably see it in the video. If you look for it, it's under the chair, and it always covers me where I need to be. My capper today was filled with, again, you get what you get here in the woods, but this is the Ted Cash capper. I've got my Polish capper with me. I actually really, really love my Polish capper. The only thing I don't like about it is you can't pull off the side, like push down and pull off. You just kind of got to lift off. It's not even that big of a deal. It's actually my favorite capper to use. This one just has a short enough string. So I've got my Polish with me. And those of you who are just tuning in, there's the Polish capper. Holds, I don't know, 150 or more caps. But yeah, it doesn't pull off, so you put a press down and pull out. It will fit some of your cap and ball pistols. Won't fit 58s and a couple others. These obviously do not fit your revolvers. And get this off. Yeah, this hat, I'll tell you, this hat's been with me forever. This is my favorite one. The Gun Club by Stetson. And can I see a name on it now? Come on, there's a name's worn off. This is a Buffalo 5X, Buffalo wool. And yeah, it's my go-to, you know, I wear it all the time. Yeah, it's my go-to for cowboy action now. You know, it's just a comfortable hat. And this pinch, you know, crease in the front, I just absolutely love it. So yeah, I'm not period correct in Mountain Man stuff, but I don't really, you know, need to be. One of these days I may get like a long hunter hat, because I do like that style, but a pinch front like this crown is, you know, and a tapered down, big enough brim to cover me in the sun is kind of more ideal for me. But yeah, so Polish capper, Ted Cash capper, ox yoke, just so you guys know, ox yoke patches. These are the 50s. These were saturated in the Hoppy's black powder. These are a little bit dry. I throw them in with my, let's see, I throw those in with the Hoppy's black powder patch and bore solvent. Yeah, it is actually a black powder gun, bore cleaner, and patch lubricant right on there. This stuff, since I've switched to this in here, you know, I've tried all different lubes over the years. This keeps your fouling down to a minimum. Some of you have seen me shoot 20 shots, 30 shots in videos and keep going without cleaning. As long as you use a thinner patch, and 15 thousandths is not a thin patch, but it's not a thick patch either. So that's why I kind of settled with a 15 thousandths ox yoke. They just work. I get them unlubed, and then I lube them with this. I actually just pour this right into a baggie with them and let them go. I found that keeps my bore going. Doesn't matter, and you can touch, you know, sit it right on your powder, and I still find I get nice complete burn. It does not interfere with setting the powder off. Now I wouldn't want it gummed up sitting in there, but yeah, this is what I use on the lubes. When I get back, again, I will clean the gun, pour hot water down, and then I just do, you know, just patches through the water, pump it out with the barrel, and then you know, and I actually do have a mixture of ballistol that I do with a boar butter or a moose milk, that I will spray the gun down if I'm going to let it sit for an hour or two before I clean it, depending on what I'm doing. You know, and again, so I'll spray that right down the barrel, and that ballistol just cuts that crud right out. If you're going to let it sit for a while, then the hot water to clean it up. And then after the hot water, I take it, and then I'm going to run it till patches till they come out clean. And I just use a pumping action up and down. And what's nice about these is you can pop these barrel wedges, pull those barrels right out, and you can actually stick the one end of it if you want into a boiling water as well, and you can actually draw the water up in from the breech end as well through the nipple, which is awesome. And then I'll remove the nipple, and one thing I always do is this gun, especially when it came, the nipple was almost seized in there, very, very hard to get out. So I clean that up and then put a little bit of anti-seize on it, put it back in, and we're good to go. And one little bit, even after a ton of cleanings, will stay in there with that gun. So yeah, ox-soak patches, hoppies, boar, black powder, boar lube. This stuff is the best. You can clean with it as well if you want to. I don't actually clean with it, but I do use it for patch lube. And then that Thermacell, man, I'll tell you, that makes a huge difference. I'm always forgetting it, and today I did not, because it's just, I knew it was going to be miserable out here. So with the humidity, I didn't want to be miserable with the bugs as well. But yeah, 45 Hawken. I would say that this is probably one of the more recognizable guns out here. Yeah, these are those little earplugs. They don't really, they're not the greatest for noise canceling, and hearing protection is very, very important when you're out in the woods. I mean, when I hunt, I don't use hearing protection because I need to hear what I'm doing, and your adrenaline goes when that shot goes off. I mean, that one shot, I don't even hear it half the time. I know a gun went off, but I mean, you don't hear it because your adrenaline's going. But yeah, and the other thing is these little short starters. I had a T-handle one. I have a bunch of T-handle ones, although I don't know where any of them are right now, and I've been looking for them. Thompson Center made one, and I think you can still find them new. They actually have an end that unscrews, and then it fits into their bottom of the ramrod, and you can actually use it to help seat and clean. This is a wooden ramrod that came with these, not a Delrin. Still going strong. But these little short starters, I prefer the ball end one, and then I seat them on there. This is actually thin enough to fit probably down to a 32, all the way up to whatever you want. So works well. Yeah, but I would say we'll do some chrono data next with the 45 because I'm curious to see before hunting season comes, muzzleloader in October. I'm curious to see the difference between the three. I don't have any 3F Swiss left at this point. So I can't get some data on there. I thought about buying Swiss at my last order because Powder Valley actually had it in stock. I've used Swiss before. It's expensive. It's typically now $7 to $10 more per pound to get Swiss, and I'm still heavy in the old Einsford, which although I've switched over now a little bit. So most of these videos I'm doing, other than testing videos like this, I'm going to probably be shooting the Wano graphs because it's cheap. It's just for fun. But when it comes for the accuracy testing, I will make sure that this gun, when it goes out hunting, is going to be with that old Einsford 15 thousandths patch. Because we were starting to get some good groups there, and I haven't even cleaned this gun yet, swabbed it. And now that I got a good aiming point, I'm going to file that sight down. I think we're going to get right on, and at 50 yards. I mean, that's tightening right up in there. And who knows, maybe I have to keep it dirty for hunting season. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the GoX on there. I mean, we'll do a little more testing with some shoots in, the rail shoots in, and then we'll do some with the shoots in graph house brand. And if GoX can get their game together, I would love it when they bring old Einsford back. And I've got quite a bit of powder now, especially with the restock I do with all the shoots and stuff. But I'll tell you, if I didn't have to shoot the shoots in right now, and I could get old Einsford, I would. And regular GoX was good, but regular GoX and shoots in, to me, I noticed zero difference between the two. So people are starting to ask questions. I know on powder and new shooters especially. So with powder, between shoots in and old GoX, whether the canned GoX or the plastic GoX, I did not notice a cleanliness difference. I did not notice a performance difference interchangeably between the two. Old Eynsford, when I switched to Old Eynsford, and I bought 25 pounds or so, you know, half 3F and half 2F. When I switched there, and I switched to Swiss at the same time, I think I had Swiss, and at the same time I had shoots in a regular GoX. Old Eynsford took the place of everything, including the Swiss at that point, because that performance was just, you know, great, and it was an American-made powder. So I'd much rather support America and American-made products and keep them in business. Sadly, they went and sold the company, and their story of Estes, I think, is who owns them now. You know, the military uses quite a bit of black powder, so I know they're going to be making that for especially during the war production right now, for all that BS in Ukraine. But I'm hoping they can get it to the shelf for the markets, but prices are just going to go up, so buy what you can when you can. Primers or caps in here, I was using CCI number 11s. There were actually some Remingtons mixed in there today. I could tell because they were green. They actually have a green on the inside instead of a red fulminator or whatever they call that. And yeah, I didn't notice any difference because actually I had one of the shots in the white was a Remington, and then a second Remington was high when I switched over. But I don't associate that to the cap. They all went off and went bang. I have heard some issues with some of the newer Remingtons having issues, but you know, we'll see. I got some because Volpe sent me some. I'll be using those when we get back to testing some of the pistol stuff later. But with that, hope you enjoy this. Thompson Center, I would say, is if you can find them, $300 to $400 all day long still, especially since we're out of hunting season. Now is the time to pick one up. Otherwise, you know, Lyman makes a really nice Thompson or Hawken knockoff, repro, I should say. Thompson is not a Hawken style. It is a conceptualized, fictionalized gun based more off of a Lehman pattern gun. That said, I could care less because they got their name out there. They reinvigorated the sport in the 70s. We've got a lot of people who complain about everything in life, me included, but mostly it's when I'm at work. And you know, but when it comes to these Thompson Centers, to me, they are an elegant USA-made gun. At right now, I mean, you can't touch a Pedersoli for under $900 brand new. Most of them are $900 to $1,400 now new, and you're buying Italian. Great guns, great hardware, great furniture. They do work. You're going to have fit and finish issues, nothing like my shitting Fox, but these Thompsons are American-made guns. So one note, if you don't know this on a Thompson, and maybe I think we'll have to do a Thompson video maybe. So Thompson, though, of note, American-made, $300 to $600 depending on the gun you want. Stay away unless you really want it. There's some guys out there right now trying to get $900 for a Cougar, which is stainless hardware. There are some nice laminate stock ones out there. But you can still have a stock made for these guns from other companies, so there's a lot of options out there, but they are nice. The Seneca has a brass toe plate on the bottom of the wood on the inside, whereas the Hawken does not. Otherwise, they're sharing the same thing. Barrels are a little bit thinner, and the stocks are a little bit thinner on the Senecas. They are nice guns. They do take a premium, as attested to my 36, which is a lesser, harder to find. The factory site, I paid $45 plus $10 shipping for this one. Guy had it on Gunbroker. Again, you can see where I was, and I ended up going all the way down the bottom of the notch for the group. He had it for $45 on Gunbroker. I bid on it. There's a couple on eBay right now, new in the package, but they want $110, $120 for them. It's a little excessive for that. You could actually build that if you really wanted to. But yeah, I think Thompson did for this sport almost everything, I think, back in the 70s when they started, you know, with the Hawken. Again, they were founded in 65, I think. In 1970, they released the Hawken, and then from then on, it was releasing a lot of guns for quite a while, up until, I think, 99. I'm sure somebody knows the date. So there's a lot of them out there, but that's what I was going to tell you on the note, though, is that K, you see it in front of a serial number, means kit gun. Doesn't mean it's bad, it just means that it came unassembled, disassembled, and that it was up to the owner to finish the gun. And some people can put a kit together, and some people can't, as attested by my shitting fox. That's, you know, a perfect example of somebody not knowing what they're doing. But if you look at them, check them out. There are plenty of these guns out there still, and they're American made, and they put a lot of meat on the table. You know, so you know, I think maybe we'll do some videos of Thompson and so on, and maybe talk about some of the differences between all these locks and lock companies and everything. And right now, the awesome rage out there for a kit gun is Kibler. And I don't own a Kibler, and I don't foresee myself in the foreseeable future owning a Kibler, because I actually thought about it when I was looking at these, you know, 50, 45, and 36s. You know, I decided I'd rather spend the money on a less expensive Thompson American-made guns that are ready to go than get a Kibler kit based on his offerings right now, because my likes and tastes, he doesn't have what I want just yet. He's getting there, and you know, as soon as he has something that I think I want, then I'm in trouble. But I love what he's putting out. I love his kits. You know, he's doing amazing things for this sport. So if you're looking for a gun that you want to put together, highly recommend the Kibler website. Give him a call. I've seen nothing but outstanding reviews on his follow-through, his customer service, how the CNC pieces fit. It's pretty much plug and play and decorate as you want, with a few things involved. But man, if he had what I was looking for in a gun ready to go, I probably would have bought it. And at the time of the shitting fox, you know, when I bought that shitting fox, he was backlogged because COVID had just hit, and I think it was 6 months or more. So, yeah. But, you know, look for what you can afford and get what you want, and don't settle for anything less. And just do your research when you buy some stuff, because lately, as attested during my shitting fox experience, while the intention to put out nice things is good, people, for whatever reason, tend to seem to always want to take advantage of somebody else, you know, produce the best thing for the worst bang for the buck, whatever it is, I don't know. So, anyway, with that, I'm going to get packed up, head back in, and enjoy the rest of this afternoon. I hope you guys all do the same.